Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
Hello, very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Locker Room on Independence Live. I don't need to say my name, but I'll say it anyway because I'm a nice guy that way. Michael, and I'm joined by the man himself that went to the Hearts game and was surrounded by about 50 million Hearts fans. Or maybe they were Hibs fans, I don't know. Graham Duffy, how are you, Graham?
I'm good, mate. Enjoying the Hearts Juggernaut while it carries on.
Yeah, no, exactly. You must go to every Hearts game now because you're the lucky you're the lucky mascot basically. So we'll get on to that. We'll touch upon today's game in the Scottish Premiership against Furness. Johnson now Rangers 3. We'll get into that. We'll look back at every game yesterday. And there is a kind of old firm derby as we speak going on in the women's game. In fact, that kicks off in about 10 minutes' time at Ibrox between Rangers and Celtic women's. Just to update you on some scores as well. Full time from early on. Packet Thistle 1, Hibs 1. By the way, this is women's football we're talking about. And Aberdeen women 1. Dundee United women 3, that's a half-time score, and all the rest of the games kick off about now. Hearts against Montrose, Rangers against Celtic, Hamilton against Spartans, and Murray against Glasgow City. Okay, get your comments coming in as always. Before we dive into the football game, a bit of sad news come out on Friday night about Chris Hoy. Sir Chris Hoy has been diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah, I mean, very sad. He's only 47, and he did say that he was diagnosed last year, and he's obviously had to keep it quiet because of his family and stuff, which is understandable. And it just goes to show that cancer doesn't care, who it hits. And it is a real shame because he's a Scottish legend. We all know that. He is the 11-time world champion and 6-time Olympic champion. He's been an incredible ambassador for Scottish sport and cycling as well. And, it's just obviously hope that, he gets the treatment that he needs. And hopefully they've maybe caught it early, so he will be all right. But it's a real shame because cancer, as I know from personal reasons, is horrendous. It doesn't care who it hits. So, yeah, I just hope he comes through this because it is really sad.
Yeah, no, exactly, because he retired from cycling in 2013 with a record of 17 gold titles across 4 disciplines, making him the most successful crack cyclist of all time. But as you said, Graham, I think he would be up there with one of the Scottish sports great with him and Andy Murray.
Oh, absolutely. Given what he's won, given the way that he carries himself as well, and it doesn't matter how fit you are. This guy's been riding a bike for so long. It doesn't matter how fit you are; these things can still affect you, and it is really sad because he is definitely with Andy Murray. He's an absolute Scottish legend, and like I say, I just hope that they've caught it early. And to be fair, his outlook is very impressive. I liked what he's been saying and stuff about the fact he's still going to keep carrying on cycling and stuff, and he's got a lot of things that he wants to try and do in the future. Like I said, he's only 47. He's only 2 years older than me. So it doesn't matter what happens. It can hit anyone at any time. And I just hope that he manages to get through this because he is a legend. And I just wish the best for him and his family because it is very, very sad.
No, here. George on YouTube basically said, good afternoon, guys. And he said that I was shocked to hear about Sir Chris Hoy. I wish him all the very best of luck. And we're all right behind Chris Hoy. So, so good luck to Chris Hoy. And I hope he makes a speedy recovery, and let's hope we see him on the TV as soon, because he was one of the faces of 2014, Graham, when the games came to Scotland. I mean, they've named the Velodrome in Glasgow after him, Chris Hoy.
Yeah, and rightly so. You know, it's quite right that they did that, and he was one of the faces of that as well. And I think this will come as a shock to everybody, to be honest. Like somebody so fit, somebody as good as Chris Hoy, and like I said before, it affects everybody. And it is a horrible, horrible disease that I just wish obviously wasn't here anymore. But, you know, hopefully he can get through this and get the treatment and stuff, and he'll be fighting fit. But I do love his positive outlook on it, is because he has been very impressive.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, yeah, so that was the sad news of Chris Hoy on Friday. I think it was Friday evening, when about 9 o'clock or something, as well. So I just thought we would start the show with that one as well. Okay, on to the football now, Graham. It was a big weekend in the title race, and we'll get to that now. Actually, the game just finished about 20 minutes ago, more than that, maybe half an hour ago. In Perth, the fair city of Perth, as they say, but it was a fair city for Rangers today, as they ran out by 3-0. But I mean, I think that story didn't really tell the story of the game. First of all, before we go on to speaking about the game, what about the park? What about the pitch, Graham? That was in an awful nick today.
Yeah, it's funny because we talk about like plastic pitches and stuff, but that grass pitch was not great. You know, for Scottish football, it didn't look great. It looked like a tatty field. It really wasn't great. I mean, it probably would have, hopefully, would have helped. Maybe thought it might have helped St Johnstone. The bubbles it was taking, you couldn't really play decent passing football in it. It wasn't conducive to a great game. I mean, the first half an hour, Rangers had a lot of possession, but weren't doing a lot with it. St Johnstone defended really well, but again, without really creating a lot. And it did take a brilliant strike from Diamande to open the score, and it's a great finish. From then on out, I think Rangers dominated, but yeah, that park really wasn't great.
I was going to say to you that the surface that Hearts played on last week against Derby, even though that was Ascot Cup, that was actually better than the park today.
That pitch was one of the best ones I think I've seen, to be honest, for a plastic pitch. It was very impressive. It was like a bit of a bowling green. I think Hearts quite enjoyed playing on that plastic pitch. It was really good. Nobody would enjoy playing on that pitch today. I mean, it was just so bobbly. The ball was running all over the place. You couldn't really get a decent first touch. It wasn't great. But in the end of the day, Rangers got the job done, so it's not really made a massive difference to them.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, Paul Donaldson, thanks for watching. You've commented on YouTube as well. Keep your comments coming in, guys. We're here until 5. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I haven't been on for a few Sunday shows, Graham, but I think because that you love speaking about VAR and might come up 1 or 2 times in the show. So watch out for that one, and we might get to the one in a wee minute or 2. But yeah, I mean, I thought St Johnstone actually defended quite well in the first half up until Rangers scored the first goal. I thought the Considine was kind of playing well up until he gave that penalty away in the second half, but I thought he had a decent first half anyway.
Yeah, him and McGovern were playing well. You know, that 3 at the back seems to quite suit St Johnstone. You know, Rangers are putting balls in the box, but you've got guys like Considine and McGowan in there against guys like Fabio Silva and stuff. They're always going to win that. Rangers had to find a different way to try and break St Johnstone down. And I think, as it was said in commentary, you know, just take a shot, because it might take a deflection or whatever. And Diamande just did that. He just thought, you know what, I'm just going to hit this. It's a really good strike. You know, that was what Rangers needed, just to kind of settle the nerves a little bit. Because on the back of what happened yesterday with Celtic, you're always kind of thinking, you know, McDermott Park on that pitch, it's not great. Craig Levein knows how to set his teams up. This could be difficult. And it was for the first 30 minutes. But then as soon as Diamande scores that goal, it just kind of settles Rangers down. They don't have to go chasing the game. They know that they're probably going to win the game, because I couldn't really see St Johnstone scoring. I thought the laddie Sidibe up front for St Johnstone was a bit of a threat with his pace, but didn't really create a lot. I mean, Jack Butland didn't have a lot to do, to be fair. And yeah, Rangers really coasted after that. Obviously, the second half, they get the 2 goals to the penalties, and they were very comfortable. And I think Clermont will be delighted with that. You know, they've got off the park with no injuries. They're top of the league. So everything's rosy in Rangers Garden just now.
Yep. Paul Donaldson says, now, I don't know what you mean by this comment, Paul. I say with my tongue in my left-hand cheek, if you say it. On YouTube, he says, will you be talking about VR, about the Aberdeen and Hibs match yesterday? Don't know what you mean. But stay tuned. We might do that very soon, especially for you. We take all requests on the show. It's brilliant. It's not a music show. It's just, once again, are you talking about VR as well? But yeah, I mean, there wasn't, I don't know about you, Graham, but there wasn't a lot of me for me to write down about the game today. I don't think St Johnstone really had a lot of chances at goal. Rangers scored, okay, they scored 3 goals, but I think they only had, 4 attempts at the goal over the 98 minutes. I don't ask me why they played 8 minutes, but there you go. That's for another show maybe. So yeah, Rangers were comfortable, and as you said, it was job done because they knew that with Celtic dropping points yesterday that they could go up in McDermott Park and win the game, but also scoring more goals, and that would help the kind of goal difference as well. And they done that. A job done, as you say.
Yeah, again, I think it was professional. You know, they got the job done reasonably comfortably. But the minimum of first, I mean, St Johnstone for me never looked like they were going to score in that game.
No.
It looked like they were going to try and settle if they could for a 0-0. But as soon as Diomande gets that first goal, it's pretty much game over. I didn't think St Johnstone carried much of a threat. I mean, I actually think the lad, Kim Pioka, who came on second half, was a really good player. I've seen him play a few times and he looks a really big threat. But they didn't get anywhere near Butler's goal. You know, Rangers were very comfortable defensively. And Rangers did have more chances towards the end. I mean, again, if I'm a Rangers fan, Dessers would drive me up the wall. Because he's done well at times. He's done well at times this season. I think he's got like 12, 13 goals this season. But the amount of chances he misses, I mean, he missed numerous chances. Yeah, he missed numerous chances against Ross County. Again, he's come on today and missed 3 or 4 really good chances. And I think if he was a better finisher, Rangers would have won that game 5 or 6-3 quite comfortably. But every week he does a lot of things right, but he just doesn't. For me, he's not clinical enough. Which is why I think Rangers fans probably wanted Majowski or Shankland in the door. Because Dessers, he is a threat. He has a handful, but he just doesn't score enough goals. And I think, again, today he missed numerous chances in that second half when he came on. But it didn't matter in the end because they managed to get the 3 goals. I think the 2 penalties, the first one's a definite penalty for me. I don't know what Considine's doing, diving in on Dujan Sterling. I don't think Sterling's going to get the ball anyway. So I don't think he's got any need to make the challenge. And it gives the referee a decision. I think the penalty, the second one, I think that's harsh. I think the guy's got his back turned. I mean, I don't know what he can do about that. The ball hits him in the hand, but he's not looking at it. His back's turned. I think it's very harsh. Given some, like I talked about on Friday about the handball rule, given some of the handballs I've seen this season and some that haven't been given, I'm not sure that was a handball because he's not looking at it. So I think that was very harsh.
I think that go back to your going back to your Dessa's point. Do you think that's why Philip Clement doesn't start him at times?
Probably. I mean, I thought Fabio Silva did okay today, but I mean, again, Scott Wright played. I don't think he offered very much at all, to be fair.
No.
But Dessers he is a threat. He's physical. He's got a bit of pace about him, but he just doesn't look like a natural goal scorer to me. He gets himself in great positions, but he just doesn't take the chances that come. I mean, I'm slightly surprised that he's got the goals that he has this season because he's just not clinical enough. You know, if that's a Lawrence Shankland in that position today, Shankland's got a hat-trick quite comfortably. But Dessers just misses far too many chances. And when you're going for a league title, you know, that could be the big difference. You've got to start taking these chances to be more clinical, and Dessers just isn't for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine if Shankland came on from Rangers, I'm sorry to say that, Graham, but if he came on today, he would easily score a hat-trick in that second half, and that's the difference between him and Dessers, I would say.
Oh, absolutely is. You know, Rangers are going for a title. They've got to be more clinical in some of these games. Today was fine because they had the game won anyway. It didn't really matter. But if you're coming up against better teams, you've got to take these chances when they come along, especially if they're playing the likes of Celtic. You can't afford to miss these kind of chances. And Dessers, I think, for me, misses far, far too many. He must be frustrating for Rangers fans because he does a lot of things right. But the biggest thing you want is to score goals, and he doesn't do it enough.
Imagine that was 0-0 and they came on and missed two sitters, you know. So 15 minutes into the show, Graham, we're just warming up. I wanted to get you warmed up, and then we'll talk about VR, right? And then we might go on to Paul Donaldson's point. I don't know what it means actually, but we'll get to that very soon. By the way, that's my cheek is on the right-hand side now. It's moved. Graham, I think now we don't speak about the game just finished because we basically come on in and speak about it. And I think we're going to agree for once in our lives. I don't know. But that penalty was a penalty. I mean, I'm in my house, you're in your house. We're not at the game. We could clearly see that was a penalty. The refs were only a few yards away from it. Can they work out it's a penalty? VR, can they work it out it's a penalty? And that's why they had, well, as I said, they argued 8 minutes on, but I don't think it took kind of like 8 minutes. I know that the subs and all that has to, but the point is, you don't need VR for that. And the second thing I would say, Graham, is see that penalty Rangers got the second one. If you remember back to last season, I can't remember who it was. Was it Alistair Johnson in the penalty box for Celtic? And his back was to goal, and they gave a penalty. Something similar to the penalty that Rangers got today. But what was your take on it? And another embarrassing moment, I would say, for Scottish football.
It's the same as I said on Friday. It feels to me like referees are refereeing games by VAR. I mean, you could quite clearly see the first one, the Considine challenge on Sterling. You could quite clearly see it's a penalty. He doesn't get the ball. It's quite clearly a penalty. The referee seems to kind of think about it for a minute and then not give it. You know, just give it. And obviously VAR's there. It'll obviously say it's a penalty. But it does feel like to me that referees are just waiting for VAR to make the call. That's not what you're there for. You know, referee the game is if VAR's not there. And then if VAR has to step in and correct it, then fine. But make the decision on the park. And that wasn't difficult. You could clearly see from watching it on telly. And like you said, the referee is standing right there. You could clearly see it was a penalty. You didn't need VAR to sort that out for you. But it just feels to me like referees are using the excuse of, well, do you know what? VAR will sort that out. It's fine. It's not what it's there for. And this is where the frustration comes for. Just referee the game. I mean, I actually quite like the games, like the championship games and stuff that don't have VAR on it. Because then, do you know what? It's just human error. But you've got the screen there. But you don't need the screen for that. You can clearly see that Considine hasn't got the ball. It's late. You can even see by Considine's look that he knows that's a penalty and he thinks he's got off with it. But once it goes to VAR, it's not getting turned over. But I just think, just make the decision on the park. That wasn't difficult.
And you're talking about the championship game in Friday night, albeit it was good, but they kept referring back to if VR was there, that wasn't a goal. But the point is this, Graham, like, see if VAR wasn't in, that was a penalty right away. The Considine incident and the second penalty wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I said it before. I think the second penalty is very harsh. I don't know what the defender's meant to do there. He's got his back turned. He's not looking at the ball. And I said at the time when Alison Johnson was given as well, that wasn't a penalty either. How can you give that? You know, his back's turned. He's not looking at the ball. The ball's hit him. He's got no idea where the ball is. I just think that's very harsh. But like I said, given some of the penalties I've seen this season, it's probably no surprise it was given, but I just think that's very harsh. It didn't matter in terms of the game because the game was won anyway. But I just think that was very harsh to give that.
Yeah, I don't think that would make any difference, to be honest, to the score. I mean, from a St Johnson point of view, we had Gareth go on Friday night talking about steam, but I don't know about you, Graham, but I was so disappointed against St Johnson today.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for the first half hour they defended quite well, but without having that real threat. Like I said, Levine knows how to set his teams up in these kind of games, and especially at home on that really dodgy pitch. But they just didn't look like with it they were ever going to create anything. You know, like I said, I think the laddie Sidibe up front looked decent. Connor Smith, I thought, played quite well. Defensively, I thought they played quite well, but they never offered really much going forward. I suppose the one thing I would say is St Johnston's season won't be defined on games like today. You know, they've got bigger games to come. They're still reasonably quite far clear of Ross County, but they've got to start picking up more results. Today was one of these games that I suppose you could call it a free hit, but they just didn't do enough going forward. They never looked like they were going to score. And I think in the end it was quite comfortable for Rangers. Once they got the first goal, it was quite comfortable. But, you know, it was never going to be a game that St Johnstone were, I think Alistair said this as well, I don't think he was confident, understandably so. I thought they put a lot into the game in terms of work rate, but they were never looking a threat going forward.
Yeah, we are going to talk about Livy as well. We'll get to that. And that was a surprising score yesterday as well. So we will get to that. I thought Rangers men of the match for me actually was Silva, and I thought Cantwell had a decent game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would like Cantwell to stay on his feet a bit more than he does. He tends to do a bit of a Swan Lake at times, but there's no doubt the guy's got quality. He's a really good footballer. I thought Silva played really well. I thought Diamande played well in midfield. Lundstrom kind of held it all together on his birthday as well, and they said it was his 30th birthday today. Good present for him, the 3 points. But yeah, I don't think Rangers were ever really troubled by St Johnstone. I mean, they brought Nicky Clark on later on. Don't know what the point in that was. You're going to beat anyway. But, you know, Rangers were just very comfortable, very professional. They got the job done, top of the league. No real problems today. But I think for St Johnstone, like I said, they won't be judged on results like today. They've got bigger games to come. Forget this one, move on. But it was just a very professional performance from Rangers today.
Do you think that St Johnstone fans will be saying to Craig Levine, why did you not start the game in Nicky Clark? Because the time he brought him on, he'd be as well not coming on at all because the game was over at that point.
I mean, I think his probably game plan was to be very solid defensively. It's worth the first half hour and try and hit in the counter with Sidibe's pace. And I thought Sidibe actually did look quite quick. So I suppose his probably thought was if I can keep it at 0-0 for long enough, and then second half bring Nicky Clark on to make a difference. But I mean, to me, the game was done at 1-0 up, you know, because St Johnstone never looked like they were going to score. I think I would have brought Nicky Clark on maybe at half time just to bring that bit more difference. But obviously, Levine's the manager, so. But I think Nicky Clark will probably start the next game. Today was a game that they were never really going to do very much, and I know that St Johnstone beat Rangers before at home, but today they never looked like they were going to do that.
So, as you are, Philip, come on, Graham, would you be just, ticking these boxes and putting game by game? Or obviously, you won't next week because they play Hearts at Ibrox next week, and that'll be a very difficult game for Rangers as well. But is it just a case of getting over the line now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're in a commanding position now. They've managed to come back from a 7-point deficit to go top of the league. So they are now looking very, very good. I think they've only lost one game this season. That was to Celtic. So they're in a very commanding position. Hopefully, Hearts can go there this week and keep our run going. It's going to be very difficult, don't get me wrong. But when you've got a striker like Shankland who can win a game like that, then you've got a chance. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say I'm positive going out next week because it's Ibrox, but we've got a chance, I think, next week. We've got to defend well. And then if we can, I think I said this to Alistair as well on Friday, when you go to places like Ibrox and Celtic Park, if you get chances, you've got to take them. So we've got to be very good defensively next week. And then if we get a chance, hopefully Shankland will take it. And what we've got to do as well is not do what we did the last time at Ibrox when we were 1-0 up and then gave away a daft penalty from Haring pulling the jersey. Kind of do things like that. But no. I'd give us a chance next week. I'm probably more confident this time than I have been previously.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, Graham, you were only about 2 minutes away from getting a point or getting all 3 points at Ibrox.
Yeah, and we played well. Listen, Rangers dominated the game, which I expected them to do, but they weren't really creating many chances. Look, we're defending really well, but then one daft tug of the jersey from Haring and it loses us the game. So we've got to be defending really well next week. We can't afford to make any daft mistakes. I think if we can keep it tight early on, like get through the first half hour or so, maybe Rangers fans might start getting a bit frustrated. I mean, they're top of the league, so they really shouldn't. But I think we've got a chance next week. I think we've got a really good chance next week. I think we're playing reasonably well. We're looking pretty solid defensively, not giving too much away. And like I said, we've got the threat up front. So we've got a chance to go there next week and cause a bit of an upset, I think.
Okay, let's speak about the second place team in the league. First team, Celtic's been there for 18 months. Celtic won, Kilmarnock won yesterday. Kyogo scored in the opening goal for Celtic, and then it was a goal by Vargas, one each. Obviously, we can speak about what's going on off the park in a minute, Glenn, but what's going on the park for Celtic? It just seems to be a calamity of errors every week, and like ever since that game at New Year against Rangers at Parkhead, I think that was Celtic's best 90-minute, I would say, performance. Well, parts of the 90 minutes.
Well, I think if you listen to a lot of Celtic fans on different podcasts, there's different reasons. It's the manager, it's the board, they didn't back him. Celtic have still got quality players in there that I don't think are doing enough. There's guys in there not taking the game by the scruff of the neck. I think you're relying on McGregor a lot, to try and make things happen. I think what Celtic have done is they have about 4 wingers on their books that don't look good enough. They don't beat their man. They don't get decent crosses in. I don't think they replace Jota. I think Palma on his day is decent. Obviously, the whole thing with Abada, I think, is a really, really poor thing as well, because I think he's a really good player, but again, not getting starts for different reasons. Kyogo looks a shadow of the player that he was last season, although he got his goal yesterday. Great ball in from Ralston, a really good header from Kyogo. Once that goal goes in, you are then expecting the floodgates to open and Celtic to win quite comfortably. But the longer the game goes at 1-0, you know that the more chance that Kilmarnock have got. And I think, again, what happens is when Celtic and Rangers don't win, it becomes about them. But I think Kilmarnock have got to get the credit because they were very good yesterday. Defended well, had other chances. Joe Hart did really well. David Watson obviously gets the goal in the end. But Celtic just look a shadow of the team they were. And I think, I don't know what they've got to do to change it. Because right now they're second in the league. They've got big games to come up. They go to Tynecastle in a couple of weeks' time, which hopefully won't be easy. So yeah, they just look miles off it. But I think for me, if I was a Celtic fan, as much as you can blame Rodgers and blame the board, that's fine. You've got to look at the players in the park. Because to me, they're not doing enough.
Yep. No, fair play. Come out. They've took 4 points over Celtic this season, and including that League Cup game as well at the beginning of the season. But it just shows you how much Celtic are not in the game very often, because I would say Celtic's best man at the moment is Joe Hart.
That's a sad indictment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sad indictment of where Celtic are, that the best player is the goalkeeper, because you're not expecting Celtic to have to defend that much, especially at home. But Joe Hart's been very impressive. I'm looking at the stats from yesterday. So Celtic are 71% possession, 15 attempts, but they only had 5 on target. That's not a lot for a Celtic team at home. Kilmarnock actually had more shots on target than Celtic did. So there's clearly an issue there. Again, you're looking at the lineup. There's quality in that Celtic team, but they're just not doing enough. Something's got to change. And I've talked about all the time on here, but again, they've got to do more to get the best out of Kyogo. And it's just not happening for them just now.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about the team on the park, because Brendan Rodgers and John Kennedy and all the rest of them can work on training Monday to Friday. But as soon as you cross that white line, you're in a job, you're at your job, you should be doing better. But they're not. It's basic stuff that they're doing, Graham. And like, no disrespect to schoolboy football, but that's what it's like at times.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the goal that Celtic lost yesterday, I don't know what Bernabe's doing at the back post. You know, he just gets bullied by Watson, and then he claims for a foul. Now, obviously, it went to VAR and it wasn't a foul, and it wasn't a foul. But you've got to do better there. You know, you're in the last couple of minutes, just defend your box. It's really, really poor defending from Bernabe, who, by all accounts, Celtic fans are not overly impressed by so far, and I can understand that because he doesn't look great. But you're thinking that Celtic, like I said, once they get the goal up, go and win the game 2 or 3, put the game to bed. But they never looked like they were going to do that. You know, it looked like they were a bit concerned. You could tell from the Celtic fans' reaction with about 10 minutes to go that they were getting worried. You know, they were panicking a little bit, thinking, Kilmarnock are still in this game. We're not putting them to bed. And then look what happens. Kilmarnock get the goal in the end. But like I said, you've got to give Killie credit. I thought the way that Derek McKinney set his team up was very impressive. I mean, they're bringing guys like Greg Stewart and Kevin Van Veen off the bench. That just goes to show what a really good squad that he's got. And again, they've taken points off Celtic. I mean, Kilmarnock seem to have this thing over Celtic just now. And it's weird. But fair play to McInnes. He's done a great job. And I think it was a deserved point in the end.
Do you think it would be a different show today if Van Veen was on, was playing for the 90 minutes game? I think Celtic would be in trouble coming out that game with no points.
Probably because we know how good Van Veen is. And, you know, Kilmarnock had chances in that game that maybe if Van Veen had been on the park, he might have taken them. So, yeah, maybe we would be sitting here on a different show talking about a crisis at Celtic, which, again, sounds daft because they were top yesterday until today. But Celtic just, you know, they are looking like they don't have that spark. They're not playing the great entertaining football they were under Ange Postecoglou. I've heard a lot of Celtic fans saying they didn't want Rodgers back, which is fine. But you're kind of looking at, well, he knows the club. He's been there before. He had that unbeaten runs, 69 games. They won the treble and stuff. Who else are we going to get that was going to be better than him? But for whatever reason, it's just not working. You know, I thought Adam Ida worked hard yesterday, maybe didn't do enough. But Celtic have still got a strong squad there. They should be better than what they are. But they're just not playing with a lot of confidence just now. And like I say, I think the players have got to take more responsibility. Because you're looking at McGregor trying to drive them forward. But there's not much else happening there, though. You know what you're going to get with Maeda? Maeda's going to work his socks off. They need more than that, though. They need a bit more quality, which is why I can understand at times Celtic fans saying that they didn't do enough in January to bring in more quality. But like I said, the wingers that they've got just don't look good enough.
No, exactly. I've been listening to a lot of Celtic fans as well, and it's funny because you would think it would be the opposite way about, but they're basically saying that Celtic are playing with better, well, not better, but a wee bit better away from home than Skeg at home. I mean, you look at the Hibs game, they were all kind patches at that game. Okay, they got a penalty and they got a win out of that game. I thought the best performance for a wee while was away to St Mirren last week, but the home form's not really good. Do you think it's because, and it was the same with Michael Beale when Rangers were there last season, do you think that one back pass at home, you've got 60,000 fans on your back right away?
I mean, this happens at a lot of home games. I've seen this with Hearts numerous times. One stray pass and the fans are on your back straight away, and it doesn't help. It really doesn't help the atmosphere. And, you know, the players then maybe start hiding a little bit. They start not wanting the ball. I think McGregor always does, though. He's always one that always wants the ball, but I think there's too many players in that Celtic team just now that when things are not going well, they hide a little bit. And that shouldn't really happen when you're at a club like Celtic or Rangers, for example. Shouldn't be having that. You should all want the ball, all demand the ball, all want better. Right now, that doesn't look like it's happening. You know, Celtic look miles off what they were the season before last. And they just don't look clinical either. You know, they're not winning games 3 or 4-0 like you'd expect. Like I said, that game yesterday, I thought Celtic would win. It would be difficult, though. But as soon as I was at Tynecastle yesterday, but as soon as I saw that Celtic had scored, I thought, right, they'll win this game comfortably now. Then when I came out of the ground, it was 1-1. It was like, wow, don't think I expected that. So There's a lot of negativity at Celtic just now, and that will get a lot worse now because they're not top. They've got a difficult game against Motherwell away next week. I know the last time they played Motherwell at Fir Park, they won 2-1 last minute, but that could be a difficult game. And they've got a couple of time castles in a couple of weeks' time as well, so they've got really difficult away games to come as well.
So Celtic's all shaky over the park. They would say what's not going so shaky at the moment is Kilmarnock. What a season they're having, Graham. You know, beating Rangers, Celtic, and picking up a point against Celtic yesterday. Do you think McInnes has got a good team going down at Kilmarnock?
Yeah, I mean, his recruitment's been outstanding. Like I said, bringing in guys like Van Veen and Greg Stewart is brilliant business. And they probably look like they are going to get 4th place. I think they will probably finish 4th. And what a job he's done. They could get potential European football. It would be incredible. I think the job he's done is fantastic. And he's got to get all the credit. Again, I think when he first came in, a lot of folk thought, is this going to work? Is it not? But he's been great for Kilmarnock. And like I said, to go to Celtic Park yesterday, get a deserved draw, it's a great result. And they were never really out the game yesterday at any point. They knew they still had a chance. And they took it. You know, Watson took his chance very well, and fair play to them. He's done a brilliant job, and I do think they'll get 4th.
Gregor, we haven't spoken about Dundee yet. We'll get to that as well. And Paul Donaldson says, I'm really, it'll be a very difficult game against Kilmarnock in the Cup next week. Yeah, that will be I think that's one of the TV games, isn't it, Graham? That
they're all on telly.
No, are they all on TV? Well, that's good. That's good. So, so Celtic won, Kilmarnock won yesterday. Let's speak about Paul's game yesterday. That I think, I think you were at the game, Paul, or comment on the game. Aberdeen 2, Hibs 2, and big VR controversy is coming up very soon, and I can feel Paul typing in as we speak. I don't know, I'm just psychic that way, Paul. But Graham, before we get to the VR check, Hibs got off to a very good start, albeit they got a point at the end of the day, but it was a good game.
It was. I mean, really entertaining game, and that's what Neil Warnock seems to have brought into this. Aberdeen they score goals, but they concede them as well. So it's certainly entertaining at Pittodrie these days. But yeah, Hibs did get off to a great start with Martin Boyle. Decent finish, but fair play to Aberdeen. They came back. Obviously, Nicky Devlin and McGrath scoring. And then Marcondes gets equaliser. But I thought it was a decent game of football. Both teams trying to win the game. I thought Aberdeen probably should have won the game. They had plenty chances. I think they ended up with 22 attempts, I think it was. So they really should have won the game. I mean, again, Majowski hasn't managed to hit the target when I think there was a couple of chances I think he should have done better with yesterday. But, does a draw do either team any good? Probably not. But I suppose if you're Hibs, you're looking at that thinking, do you know what, a point away at Pittodrie, we'll take that.
I think if we're going to speak about VR game, I think this is look upon VR for Martin Boyle's celebration for the first goal. Because what was that about?
He always does that. I don't know why he does it, but he always does it. I've noticed him do that a few times. And then Clarkson, hit the bar, and they should be doing better there. Yeah, I mean, I've said before I like Leighton Clarkson. He probably should do better. I mean, Aberdeen had a lot of decent chances yesterday that they just couldn't finish. And I think, again, at 2-1 up, I'm probably expecting them to go and see the game out and win the game. But listen, credit to Hibs, they managed to come back. They've got decent players going forward. I still think Hibs defensively are very poor. I mean, Will Fish cost them 2 goals yesterday. He was very, very poor. And at the other end as well, Aberdeen didn't help themselves with the 2 goals they lost. Paul said they're all come from mistakes, and they do. So defensively, I don't think either team are particularly great. But going forward, they've both got quality. I think Aberdeen and Hibs, I've said this previously, should be a lot higher than they are. They're both having very poor seasons. I still think Aberdeen will probably sneak in at the top 6. Hibs, I'm not sure about, if I'm honest. But it's a I mean, honestly, I keep saying this, right? But just listen to Neil Warwick's after-match interviews are brilliant. I love it. The guy's quality. I love having a guy like that in Scottish football. He brings that kind of that factor in it. I just love listening to him. Like yesterday, he was talking about manslaughter for the Majorski one, which was slightly over the top, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, yes, I'll get to that in a minute, but it was slightly over the top. But I just love the way he comes across. I think he's brilliant.
I know Christmas is over, Graham, right? But if Santa is still about, please get Neil Warnock the job full time up at Aberdeen. Paul might have a different opinion, but I think he's good quality. Because I watched his first press conference the day before they came down to Rangers, and they let a few funny one-liners out there. And so keep it coming. So if you're the Aberdeen board, sign up Neil Warnock for next season. There you go, good boy. So let's get to the VAR incidents in the game, Graham. There wasn't a lot to talk about, wasn't
there? No. Right. We talked about this before we came on the show. The Aberdeen one, where Nicky Devlin handles the ball, I cannot believe that wasn't given. Nicky Devlin quite clearly leans into the ball. It's going past him and he leans into it. It's a handball all day long. I don't know how that's not given. I said it on Friday, the handball rule needs clarified, but you don't need to clarify that. It's a definite penalty. I don't know how that's not given. It's a ridiculous decision. And then for the one on Majorski as well, again, I think that's a penalty as well. David Marshall comes out. I think he's trying to get the ball, but he clearly punches Majorski. So again, It's a penalty. How VAR has not overruled that and said to the referee, you need to go look at that. Honestly, it is just baffling. I keep saying it, right? It's not VAR that's the problem. And I know we had Alistair on Friday who was really good, but I don't get how the officials can't see that that's a penalty. It just about takes Majorski's head off. Now, don't get me wrong. There's no intention there. He's trying to go for the ball. But the simple fact is, he catches Majorski quite clearly. It's a penalty. So that's two really poor decisions. And officials, again, have got it completely wrong. And I'm not surprised that it was David Munro, who's been at the heart of numerous poor decisions recently, that made those calls. He's a dreadful referee.
And and I'll say it again, Graham, they're getting paid good money to make stupid mistakes. Now, the one about David Marshall, it's a bit like the penalty today. They didn't need to go over to see VAR for that one, Graham, because everybody knew, and we only saw, 10 minutes on the highlight package last night. We knew right away that was a red card. And I bet you did. Sorry, Graham, I was just going to say it. And I bet you David Marshall is saying, oh, I'm a lucky guy he's going to be on the park.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's any intent there. But the simple fact is, he clearly catches Majorski. Now, he might get the ball, but for me, it looks like he punches the ball into Majorski's, and then his hand falls through. It's a penalty all day long. Now, I don't agree with the manslaughter thing. That's slightly harsh. But it's a penalty all day long. I don't understand how. If the referee hasn't seen that, then fine. Maybe from his angle, he's not seen it. Maybe he thinks that David Marshall gets the ball. That's fine. But that's what you've got the monitor there for. The official in that room should clearly see that. And he still gets it wrong.
And as I said to you on Friday, Graham, as well, that they've got 6 officials now. They've got 2 linesmen, a 4th official, a ref, and 2 guys in the VAR room sitting beside a big, massive monitor, but they're just making basic mistakes. And Paul Donaldson says that there was 10 minutes of injury time at the end of yesterday's match for all the VAR checks. And there you go. That's my favourite TV channel, Scottish TV Gold, saying Hibs and Aberdeen should both have penalties yesterday. And also he says that good afternoon, guys. Good win for Hearts yesterday. So I believe that you've just gave your team away that you're a Hearts fan, because I didn't know who you were. I thought you were just a Albion Rovers fan or something, but it's good to see that you've owned up to a Hearts fan as well. Gregor, keep the comments coming in, by the way. Dundee got away a good one, 2-0 against Ross County. Yes, believe it or not, Gregor, we are going to talk about that game. I know you said that a few times, but we will get to it. Don't worry, mate, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, VR, Graham, I mean, I know we said when it was going to come in, it's going to benefit for the game, but I think if you ask any football fan, they're going to say the opposite now. It's going to make it embarrassing.
Well, we kind of said this on Friday, and Paul's kind of touched on it as well. I think 3 of the goals were checked by VAR. Nowadays, it's impossible to celebrate a goal because everything is checked.
Yeah.
That's what we said on Friday. It does feel like VAR is ruining entertainment because as soon as you score a goal, everything gets scrutinised. And I said it on Friday, it feels like they're looking for reasons to chalk goals off, and it's ruining the enjoyment of a game. You know, I was at Tynecastle yesterday, obviously, and thankfully, well, there was a couple of VAR checks. I don't know why, but it feels like every goal you really can't celebrate because you're expecting the goal to get chalked off, and it does ruin it. It ruins enjoyment, which is why I like the games, like the Championship games, that don't have VAR in it, because you don't get any of that. It's just as simple as a goal, it's a goal. I just think it's ruining it. But honestly, those decisions yesterday, and like I said, I don't know how Hibs don't get a penalty for Nicky Devlin's handball, because that's one of the clearest you'll see all season. And I don't know how it's not given. But these officials are just getting they're getting worse every week. I mean, I just don't get how they can get these wrong. It's so easy, and they still get them wrong.
Jamie McGrath got a goal for Aberdeen. That was a good goal yesterday.
It was, but again, Hibs defensively were all over the place. I mean, he's got time and space to poke that ball in where he really shouldn't. But like I said, Hibs defensively are not great. They are good going forward, Hibs. They've got a decent midfield, but defensively they are so suspect. And like I said, Will Fish was dreadful yesterday. He looked massively out of place. Boom, boom. But he was just terrible. He cost both those goals yesterday.
It was a capper. Sorry. Well praised.
Yeah, but I mean, all the goals yesterday were avoidable. But again, I don't really think a point does either team any good. But Hibs are probably the team that's happy with the point. Away from home at Pittodrie is not going to be easy. So they'll probably take it. But defensively, both teams just look very poor. Like I said, you're going to get goals with Aberdeen under Warnock. They might not just be in all Aberdeen's favour, though.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, and it was good to see that 18,000 was at the game yesterday as well, Graham.
Yeah, that's, Aberdeen against Hibs should have that kind of attendance. They're both big clubs, both very much underachieving. They should be doing better than they are. Like I said, I think Aberdeen will just sneak it at the top 6. Hibs, I'm not sure about, though. I'm really not sure about them at all. But yeah, great crowd. Absolutely fantastic attendance.
The Scottish TV Gold says on YouTube, enjoying the Rayforth game in Dundee. Yeah, Dundee Nike game on Friday night. Yeah, we'll touch on that in a bit as well. On Friday night when Rayforth got the winning goal, it was good to see that the celebrations what we don't get to see at the top flight because of here. Yeah, that's a good point, because obviously if that was a Hearts goal, right, or a Rangers goal today, right, they would find a way to put it to VAR to hold it up for a few minutes. So that you're not going to celebrate once, you're going to technically you're celebrating twice because obviously because of the VAR.
I mean, could you imagine, right? That Scott Brown winning goal on Friday was a brilliant goal. Could you imagine if that had got ruled out for VAR for some stupid reason? That would have just been the end of football. Just end football now if that was getting ruled out. But yeah, it was great. I mean, to be fair, the first goal for Wraith probably was offside. I think Jack Rudden was offside. But again, it's human error. It's just human error. That's fine. But it was great not to have that thing about, that will get ruled out. It's actually great to see that. Championship games are so much better. VAR is some of the games that I've seen, even in England, like FA Cup games now that didn't have VAR, are so much better because there's not that thing about, we need to wait to see if that's going to get chalked off. It's so much better. It's so much easier.
I know a bit, but it spoiled the game in Friday night. Not that Michael Stewart spoiled me at all, but like he was comparing. Well, obviously the referee's goal was offside. He had his middle finger was offside, I think, at the time. But Michael Stewart says if that was that was offside. Now, years ago, we would say, well, yeah, that was offside, but it's got a goal. But it's ruining the game, Graham. And even though the game hasn't got VAR, VR still comes into the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, even yesterday for the second Hearts goal, I stood there, didn't celebrate because I could see the referee in his ear, and I thought, oh, this is going to get chalked off. And it just, thankfully, it didn't. But it just ruins enjoyment because you are automatically thinking, right, can we celebrate? Because that'll end up getting chalked off for some stupid reason, and it does ruin enjoyment of it.
But wait, no, what I was just going to say to you there was, Graham, VR, that's why there's so much time. I think Paul made a comment earlier on. That's why there's so much time at the end of the game, because they stop the game for one wee stupid second, and then they start the game. So technically, that's wasting time as well.
Yeah, and again, this is where like injuries come in, because you're spending that much time with injury time. Players can get injured. Players are knackered. So I can see why people don't like it. And I just think as well, I mean, sometimes you're not getting home till later on as well, because the VAR decisions take that long. You're after about 10 minutes on. It just creates an absolute farce for me. I mean, I wouldn't get rid of it, because I think VAR is a technology, but just make the officials better, because some of these decisions are not difficult, but they seem to make it difficult.
I think I would be the opposite, Graham. I think take VAR out, but bring in goal line technology, because I mean, Scottish football, they do things back to front. They don't buy the whole package. They only buy half of the package. But if you get goal line technology, that's I'm not saying that's going to solve everything, but I'm just going to say, well, it's stupid to buy half, but not the other half.
It's Scottish football, though, isn't it? We didn't do things by half. I mean, I said on Friday, look at when VAR was brought in. It was brought in during the season. I mean, what's the point in that? You do it at the start of a season, or don't bring it at all. Bring it in during a season was just an absolutely daft idea.
So yeah, I mean, who was? I was going to say who was a point better for yesterday to each. I think kind of both teams the way that they're kind of going at the moment with them.
I think probably Hibs, because they're away from home and they did come back from 2-1 down. And if you look at the chances that Aberdeen had, I think Aberdeen should have won that game. They had decent chances towards the end to win that game. Myos got a couple of good chances. So probably the point's better for Hibs. But overall, I don't think it helps either team, because they're still sitting bottom half of that league. They need to start picking up victories, and quickly, to get up that league, because neither team should be outside that top six. But right now, both of them are.
Before we get to the game Graham was at yesterday, and not a lot of people was concentrating on the game. They were concentrating on, where's Graham sitting today? We'll get to that game in a minute, but just to update you, there's the Women's Premiership games on today. Final score from early on: Packet Thistle 1, Hibs 1. That was the full-time score. Paul Donaldson might not be happy at this, because it was Aberdeen. What a game. Aberdeen women 3, Dundee United women 3. And to injury time on that one. Hearts 1, I mean, close now. I always like to keep Graham happy, so that's half time for you. 39 minutes gone of the game at Ibrox between Rangers and Celtic. 0-0. And also, kicking off at 4 o'clock, we have got Hamilton Accies against Spartans, and Motherwell against Glasgow City. Will keep you across all the games between now and 5 o'clock. Keep your comments coming in. You're watching me and Graham Duffy on the Locker Room till 5 o'clock here on Independence Live. Right, Graham, let's get back to the game in hand. First of all, what row were you sitting on yesterday, Graham?
I was in the Rosebud stand, right behind the goal. It was great.
There you go. It was funny because when you told me before you came on air, you were like that. Somebody texted me to say, "Oh, my dad's sitting beside you," whatever. So there you go. Nice to see Graham fan club all support Hearts, but not in the Hibs at the game as well. I've not seen Mike in the chat. I hope he's okay today talking about Hibs. Maybe he's still up in Aberdeen after yesterday's game. I'm not sure.
He's busy today.
Busy doing his hair. I used to have that program years ago as well. Okay, let's speak about the Hearts game yesterday. Hearts 2, Motherwell now. You would know better than me, Graham, because you were at the game. I only saw about 10 minutes. If I was lucky last night, there wasn't a lot to write home about in the first half.
No, the first half carried the same as it has for Hearts recently. They've not been particularly great. I think Naismith got it wrong at the start. He went back to a back three, which for me doesn't work. We look so much better than playing on a four. We were far too slow, far too passive going forward. Didn't really create anything in that first half. Liam Killie and Xander Clark were very, very underused. I thought actually Motherwell had a couple of decent chances in the first half, but both wide. But second half was much better. Naismith made a couple of changes at half time, which did help. Although, again, Motherwell started the second half better than us. Had a couple of, again, kind of half chances at the start. But then once Hearts got the goal, we looked very comfortable. And as always, Lawrence Shankland, I don't know what I can say about the guy. 25 goals this season, and I can't believe Motherwell left him unmarked at a free kick. Stuart Kettle actually said that. Can't believe we did that, but he was brilliant again yesterday, Shankland. And then I thought we had chances to wrap the game up. Alan Forrest hits the ball straight at Kelly when he should score. Vargas hits the post in the second half. Great effort. We could have had the game wrapped up long before we did. And then Vargas gets that goal towards the end. His sixth goal of the season, although it got checked by VAR, which it shouldn't have been. But yeah, in the end, again, comfortable then for Hearts. I thought Motherwell came with a game plan to frustrate us, and it was working. First half, they defended very, very deep. They weren't getting across the halfway line that much, Park meant on the break. But it was a very comfortable performance then from Hearts and another great victory. 12 unbeaten now, which is an incredible record. And like I said, the Juggernaut continues, but difficult games to come because our next three games are Rangers away, Hibs at home, and Celtic at home. So the unbeaten run may come to an end at some point, but delighted how it's going so far.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's kind of changed days as well, Graham, because obviously we were talking about Maisie a couple of weeks ago on the show. You were unsure about him, but I think he's won the fans over.
He absolutely has, and the results change narratives. If you're winning games and fans are going to back you, and he's now had 12 unbeaten since we lost to Aberdeen at Pittodrie back in December, he's done a great job, and he seems to be making tactical changes that work. Again, yesterday, he obviously wasn't happy with the first half and he made changes that helped. Bringing on Macaulay Tate, bringing on Atkinson, bringing on Oda, who I thought for the half hour was excellent yesterday. Probably the best I've seen him play. Just be positive. He was taking people on more than ever did before. And the changes he made a difference. He actually ended up playing a 4-2-4, which really did really well. So yeah, I was impressed by his changes yesterday. He's getting better every game with the changes that he makes. I'd like to see us start games better, but if he's going to make changes that make a difference, then fair enough. But, I'm talking about referees earlier on. There is one big decision in this game which still annoys me. At the time, it annoyed me. Watching it back again, it still annoys me. Lawrence Shankland wins the ball quite cleanly, wins the ball. There is no high foot. His foot's on the ground, clearly wins the ball, and the referee books him for it. I couldn't believe it at the time, and then watching it back yesterday on telly, it was like, how is that a booking? No wonder Shankland was raging because that was an absolutely terrible decision.
Yeah, I know exactly. And it just baffles me why he got a yellow card for that, Graham, because, but again, that's Scottish football, so nothing surprises you.
I just, honestly, I was sitting watching it going, how is he getting... Everyone around me was raging, and rightly so. Nobody could believe it, and I think, right, maybe I've not seen something. Maybe there's something there that I've not seen. So I watched it again on Sports Scene last night, and it was exactly what I thought. He wins the ball quite cleanly. There's no high foot. There's no stuzzed up. His foot is on the ground. How is that a booking? Winning the ball is now a booking. It was an absolute joke. And,
Yeah.
again, if he was to get a second yellow, it'd be off the park for nothing, because that was never in a million years a booking.
I could just imagine the SFA coming out with a new rule for next season, Graham. Don't tackle, just, if somebody gets the ball, don't touch them. Just stand and say, yeah, I only go, score a goal. I can't tackle you. It's just baffling sometimes in Scottish football. What about Ireland Forest, Graham? Because obviously you see more times than me because you watch the Hearts games every week. And he started to put on performances for Hearts. He had a brilliant chance yesterday as well. But he was scoring goals for fun at Livingston. But I just feel as though that, all right, leaving Shankland aside at the moment, but I think he's a top player for Hearts as well.
I've said it before, he's one of our most underrated players.
Yeah.
I think Forrest has been great. I thought first half yesterday struggled a little bit to get into the game, but most Hearts players did. But again, second half, when he went back out wide, he was much better, much more positive. I think he should have scored. Hits it straight at Killie, he's got to do better, but it's his free kick that leads to Shankland's goal. Mm-hmm. Forrest is getting better every week. Shankland obviously gets the headlines, and rightly so. But I think Forrest has been very consistent. He's been very impressive. I was delighted when he signed that new deal not that long ago. But yet there's still some Hearts fans, when I go on Twitter and I see the Hearts team being announced and Forrest is in it, I still see Hearts fans going, why is Forrest there? Well, if you don't understand that, you don't understand football. I mean, seriously, Forrest has been fantastic recently. Probably one of the first names in the team sheet alongside Shankland. He's been very, very good. And like I say, I think he's one of the most underrated players at Hearts.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that, Graham. Vargas scored the second goal for Hearts, but he missed a chance. He missed a chance and it came off the post.
It was a brilliant effort. Really good ball in it. It was a brilliant effort. He's very unlucky. And I like Kenny Vargas. We've got the opportunity, I think, to sign him on a permanent deal. And I've been taking that. I've been very impressed with him. Very direct, really quick as well. Always tries to be positive going forward. Took his goal really well as well. What a touch. And the finish on the left foot. I know that Stuart Kettlewell wasn't happy and thought it was a foul. He's delusional. Sorry, Stephen, if you're watching this, but that is never a foul. So, yeah, I just thought it was a great finish from Vargas. And again, he's improving every week as well. The signings that we made in the summer, I think a lot of them have worked out really well. Some of them haven't, but I think he's been outstanding. And I was delighted he got his goal yesterday because he was excellent.
I know it's a long way to go before the end of the season, Graham, but we're going to maybe getting to the final of the Scottish Cup, albeit you've still got to beat Morton first, and get back into Europe for next season. Do you think that would be a successful season for Hearts?
Yeah, I mean, finishing third obviously is a big game for me. We have to get back into European football again, and I think, fingers crossed, we will get that. The lead we've got over Kilmarnock, 14 points ahead with not many games left. We should be comfortably third now. And I'll be honest, weeks and weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought that. But the run that we've been on is unbelievable. I don't think any Hearts fan would have said we'd have a 12-game unbeaten run. It's been unbelievable what Naismith's done, the turnaround he's had. So, yeah, I think third place looks like it's going to be pretty much confirmed soon. I would love to go back to Hampden again. Winning a cup would be great. We've not won a cup since 2012, so we need to win a cup again eventually. But if the games go like I think they're going to go, so if Hearts beat Morton, Aberdeen beat Killie, which I think they probably might, Celtic beat Livingston and Rangers beat Hibs, then that semi-final then it's going to be very difficult. So to win the cup's going to be hard. But if we can get to a final again, it would be great. But third place for me is the most important thing. European football is what I want back at Tynecastle again. And the money we get from that would be huge. Obviously, if Shankland goes, how much money we get for him could be important as well. So, yes, it's good times at Hearts just now. And like I said, I wouldn't have believed that weeks ago because we look miles off it.
I know I'm a million miles away from the semi-finals, and Paul won't like me for saying this, but what's the betting, Graham, if we get another all Edinburgh, all Glasgow semi-final in the Scottish Cup? I don't think that's ever happened for a second time.
Yeah, probably not, to be honest. I mean, you've got to be looking at Rangers and Celtic to be favourites for the Cup. Of course you do. But you just never know. You know, a one-off game, maybe Rangers and Celtic not playing at the best, come a chance. You've got more confidence in Aberdeen than I have. Probably. But I just think Aberdeen at home, you know, I think, yes, Kilmarnock could be difficult, but I do fancy Aberdeen to win next week. I think it'll be close, but I just fancy Aberdeen to beat Kilmarnock in that quarter-final. And the possibility of a Hearts Aberdeen semi-final would be interesting. It's been a while. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the quarterfinals, actually. They should be decent games. I'm still baffled as to why the Hearts game's on Monday night. I just think that's mental having a Monday night football game, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think yesterday was a really good performance from Hearts in the second half, and I know that Stephen won't be happy about Motherwell. He obviously wasn't watching it because he's away in Manchester. But Motherwell, for me, looked happy to kind of settle for a point. Thankfully, didn't get it.
I always talk about honeymoon period in football, but is it really incredibly over between the Murrow and Stephen Getwell, or else am I a bit unfair there?
I mean, I think when they had that 15-game run without a win, that was probably the time you would have thought surely it's going to get sacked, and they didn't. They stuck with him, which is fine. I kind of admire their loyalty. Yesterday, I don't think Motherwell were great yesterday. Theo Baird didn't get into the game. I thought we defended really well. They didn't have much threat going forward. Xander Clark wasn't overly tested. There was a couple moments in the game that were a bit, you know, they looked a little bit better, but there was nothing really major in them. But I think they'll keep him for a bit longer. Obviously, the cup defeat to Morton was not great. That was a really poor result. But they've got to start picking up results again soon. You know, like I said yesterday, they weren't great. Leaving Lawrence Shankland and March in the box is just something you don't do. And then the second goal, Kettle was coming for a foul. It's not. But if I'm a Motherwell fan watching that game yesterday, I wouldn't have been overly impressed because they didn't do enough for me to threaten us.
I know you were saying about Hearts, they don't start the game well, but to be honest, I think it would take Hearts not having a good 15, 20-minute spell for them to get all 3 points at the end of every game that they're playing, Graham.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter about the performance, I suppose. It's just getting 3 points, and we did that yesterday. But I would like to see our starting games a little bit better, a little more on the front foot. It's another game that we've not scored in the first half in a league game at home. But like I said, second half was far better. And once we get the opening goal, I think we had 3 or 4 really good chances to really wrap that game up before we did get the second goal. But I'm just delighted to win the game. All I wanted was 3 points yesterday, and we got them.
And Jake put in the comments a wee minute ago, are you going to speak about the Livingston game? Well, I don't know if you're still watching or maybe you're fed up of us speaking about the other teams in the Livingston. Well, tune in right now because we're going to talk about Livingston game. And I think like that was one of the shocks of the games yesterday.
It was. It really was. I didn't see that coming. Obviously, because I was at the game yesterday, I wasn't keeping an eye on the results. I just saw the scores coming through. But what a win that was. Tete Yengi gets the goal just before half-time. Again, a bit sloppy defensively for St Mirren, but fair play to him. And then you're thinking, right, can Livingston build on this now? And then they give away a penalty, which was a penalty, but it's a terrible penalty from Mandron. I mean, it's a decent save by George, but Mandron, it's a really poor penalty. And after that, I mean, St Mirren didn't really look like they were going to score. They didn't create that much, and fair play to Livingston. I mean, that is a massive result. It puts them now 3 points behind Ross County, who they play next week. So that's a big 6 pointer of that game. That's going to be a massive, massive game. And you can see the relief on David Martindale's face after the full-time whistle.
Yeah.
Because it's been a long time coming. But I think overall they deserved it. You know, they did deserve it. They've had to suffer a lot recently, but that's a massive win. To beat St Mirren, a team who are a very good side, is a big result, and fair play to them.
That's Livingston's first one, believe it or not, in 17 league games that well done. And see, when you think about it, well, like that's a big weekend for Livingston because St Johnson get beat, Ross County get beat as well. Albeit there's a skill a lot to do, and I know that there's a lot of games to win, but just to have that bit of belief in yourself and confidence, and to be honest, 2 wins out of 2 for Libby now. Winning against Packet Thistle last week, and then yesterday against one of the top sides in the division, St Mirren.
I think the comeback last week against Partick Thistle was massive. Winning that game from 2-0 down was huge. It then gave them a bit more belief to go into yesterday's game, and they carried that on. Like I said, I thought they were very good yesterday. Defended really well, had a couple of other decent chances as well. It was a huge 3 points. But again, like I said, the turning point was that penalty. It was a penalty, but I don't understand. I mean, Mandron's a terrible penalty. But there's a lot of players these days missing penalties at Livingston. I don't know what it is, but it was a terrible penalty. But like I said, decent save by Max George. It's a decent height for him. But it's a huge 3 points for Livingston. And like I said, they did deserve it. And now they've given themselves that bit more of a chance of staying up. But that county game next week becomes huge. If they can then win that game, 3 games in a row, undefeated, get level, they've got a decent opportunity to get out of this. But for me, they've got to win next week. And they're playing in Ross County side that, let's be honest, they're not playing with a lot of confidence. Beating again yesterday. So Livingston have got to build on that now. But it's a huge 3 points for them. And I actually think Tete Yengi, anytime I've seen him, has looked a real handful. And again, decent finish yesterday, but he looks a real handful.
Jake was saying in the comments, thanks for watching, Jake, by the way, on YouTube. He says, for once, our defence is quite solid. And I suppose that's what you need, and especially the run of games that you've got coming up, Graham. Lorna says you keep the back door shut.
Yeah, I thought Nottingham and Oberlai defended very well yesterday. Put the bodies on the line when you have to do it. They made a number of decent blocks. And like I said, I think midfield as well. I thought Shinnie was really good yesterday, a couple of decent chances. And they just looked a bit more balanced yesterday. And like I say, Yengi up front's a massive, massive threat. And they could have added to the lead, to be honest. They had a couple of decent chances. But I think Martindale will be delighted. Won the game, kept a clean sheet, 3 points that they really needed. Because I think if they lost yesterday, I would have worried for them. But now it just gives them that bit more of a lift. And you could, like I said, you could tell the relief around Ammanville yesterday with that win. The fact that they managed to get a win, and David Martindale just looked like he'd won the lottery with that win yesterday. But they've got to build on that now. It's about carrying that on. And like I said, that Ross County game next week is going to be absolutely massive. If they can win that, and you know what? They actually might win that, then they've got a really good chance here.
Just to update you on the women's football, Paul Donaldson, you'll be a happy man because Aberdeen won 4-3 against Dundee women. It was Fleets going into injury time, Graham. Aberdeen's pulled out the bag 4-3. Half-time in the Glasgow derby, it is Rangers now, Celtic now, and we'll update you on the second half scores. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a point that you've made, Graham, because it's sort of like putting a good performance at home against Livingston, sort of against St Mirren. But you need to back it up now, and you need to go away from home, and obviously they've got Ross County next week, but they need to back that up with a win. And if you win a few games, that gives you a bit of confidence. And I suppose if they win 5 back-to-back games, what will David Martindale do? That's a big question.
Probably run around Livingston naked. But I mean, listen. Winning breeds confidence. Winning's a habit, so's losing. And they've been stuck in a rut of losing recently, but that win last week was huge for them. And now they've managed to carry that on against a good St Mirren side. St Mirren will be raging about the fact they've not got into that game. And I did see at the end, Stephen Robinson was not happy with St Mirren fans because he went over to them. And I don't know if he was having a go at what it was about, but he looked furious about something. So it just goes to show that it's a passionate game, and he looked furious yesterday. But Livingston deserved the 3 points. They were very good yesterday. Like Jake said, they defended really well. I thought they were excellent yesterday and deserved the 3 points, but they've got to keep that going now. There's no point in winning that game yesterday and then going to Ross County and losing. They have to carry that on. And I think the confidence they'll get from these last 2 games, they've got a very good chance of doing that.
You don't see that very often, Grim, do you, about managers shouting at supporters? And to be honest with you, they were trying to, I think it was the St Mirren players were trying to push him away, but he was still adamant and going over. And maybe that's why he never came out to do the interviews after the game.
There's been a goal in the Glasgow derby. It's Rangers 0, Celtic 1. That's the goal that's just been scored by Celtic just now. Yeah, I mean, it was very surprising to watch that on Sports Scene last night. I don't know what the issue was. Obviously, I don't know if Robinson were getting stick throughout the game, but it wasn't great to see. You know, and I'm sure that Robinson and maybe in the cold light of day might think, do you know what, maybe I was wrong to go over there. Whatever the issue was, I don't know. But you don't often see that. You know, clearly something's been said that he wasn't happy with. But, I mean, the things that Mirren are still in a decent position. You know, they're still sitting 5th, having a decent season. Yesterday was a poor game from them, but I don't think there was a need for that reaction.
Apparently Jake was at the gate. Well, I presume that you were at the game yesterday. He said that there was a fight between the fans yesterday as well. So I don't like to hear that, Graham, at games like that, you know, so Mirren and Livingston fans as well. But I've never saw Stephen Robertson kind of losing the head. But it's when you see that and comparing that to David Martindale, it's night and day. Because David Martindale for weeks or months has been moaning about financial and stuff like that. He doesn't shout out the fans. He just gets on with it. And there you've got Stephen Robertson going over. Because as you know, the Tony Macaroni Arena, the fans are on the opposite side of the park. So somebody must have told him, or he might have heard it during the game.
Yeah, it wasn't great to see, and obviously, what Jake's saying there, it's not great. It's not a great advert at all. But you know, David Martindale, I've said for weeks that he sounded like a man that sounded defeated. But I don't think he is now, because that's 2 wins on the bounce now, and he sounds a bit more energised now. But like I keep on talking about, you've got to keep that going now. You know, you've got to go to Ross County next week and win that game. Then you've got to win the next week as well. You've got to keep that going. But they'll get a lot of confidence from that. And like I said, I think the win was deserved. You know, St Mirren maybe weren't great yesterday, but take nothing away from Livingston, because they thoroughly deserved those 3 points yesterday. And like I said, Tete Yenge looks a really, really good threat up front. He's got height about him. He's got a bit of a presence about him. Scored his goal. So fair play to Livingston yesterday. They deserve all the credit.
And as for St Mirren, Graham, I mean, they're doing well in the league this season, but they're not hitting height. They're not hitting the heights as they were last season, you would say.
No, I mean, earlier in the season, they looked like they were going to be up there challenging for 3rd place, but they've just completely fell off a cliff. You know, Hearts obviously ended up miles clear, but St Mirren can still get in the top 6. There's no doubt about that. They're not, I mean, they're certainly 35 points, they're only 2 points off Killie. So it is very tight in there. But yesterday, just one of these games again, you just brush yourself off and go, you know what, move on to the next game. That game's done now. But all the credit's got to go to Livingston, because they deserved the 3 points. They needed those 3 points yesterday. Like I said, going into that game, they were under massive pressure to get something out of the game, and they've done it. And I think that penalty missed over Mandron was a huge moment. But fair play. They managed to win the game, and they deserved it. Yeah,
no, exactly. You know, as you know, and they'll be up against Celtic in the cup, but you know, it's a one-off game, Graham. We saw what Celtic season's been like up till now. They won't be hoping to go to Parkhead to cause an upset. Or I think all they'll be hoping to go for is money out the game, because obviously it's live on TV and they get half of the gate as well. But, you know, stranger things could happen in Scottish football.
I think I said before, you know, cup football is so much different to league football. It takes that bit of pressure off you. And there's going to be absolutely no pressure for Livingston going to Celtic. They'll not be expected to win that game, but the way Celtic are playing just now, I mean, you never know. I mean, if Livingston were to nick that, it would be incredible. But if, again, like every team that goes to Celtic Park and that, keep it tight, frustrate the crowd, because that Celtic crowd will get frustrated, and then take the chances if you get them. You give yourself a chance. It could be a difficult game for Celtic, especially when Livingston can keep on winning. until that game. So it could be a difficult game, but like I said, there's absolutely no pressure on Livingston going into that game.
Yeah, no. And I know you were saying about Stuart Kettlewell, Murwell's keeping the faith in Stuart Kettlewell, but and I know that the financial side comes into it when we talk about Livingston. Maybe Jake will know a bit more better than us, but fair play to Livingston. I mean, David Martindale could get easily lost his job before Christmas.
He could, and it just, again, I go back to loyalty. That doesn't tend to happen a lot in football these days. You don't get that loyalty. 3 or 4 bad results and fans want you sacked. But Livingston have stuck by Martindale, and he's shown the loyalty as well. Maybe he could have thought, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. But he's not. He stayed to try and turn things around. And at the moment, it's looking like the right decision, because 2 games in a row now, the Partick game last week and then this one yesterday. So he's hopefully getting them turned around a little bit. But I keep on saying it. You've got to now go and win next week against Ross County, because that's a huge game. If they lose that, then you're back at square one again. And maybe Livingston fans might think, oh, we're going to go down now. They've got to go there next week and win that game. And let's be honest, the way that Ross County are playing just now, I wouldn't actually go against Livingston winning that game next week, because Ross County are looking a really poor side just now. And I like Don Killie when he was at Hearts. I think he talks really well, but they just don't look good enough just now. So Livingston can go there next week and think, we've got a chance here.
And as I say, I mean, I saw them on Wednesday night against Rangers, and they never created any chances at all, apart from the goal Murray scored. But, I mean, Rangers could have won that one easily, 7-1, Graham.
Well, it's like I said at the start when we talk about Rangers. I mean, Desser's missed numerous chances in that game to absolutely hammer Ross County. Obviously, they won the game in the end, but Ross County, for me, they don't look like they've got that energy about them just now. I think generally, Derek Adams has sapped out of them when he was there. They just look a very poor side just now. I think Don Killie can turn it around, because, like I said, I think he's a lot more positive. I like his interviews after the games and stuff. I think he's a really good guy as well. So I hope he does well. But that game next week becomes huge. It becomes a 6-pointer for me. So it's a big game next week. Probably for me, I know that Rangers play Hearts next week, but it's probably one of the games of the weekend next week, because it is so important at the bottom end of the table. And right now, I don't think I was saying this, but right now I'd probably make Livingston favourites, even though it's away from home. Because Livingston have got momentum on their side that Ross County just don't have.
Do you think that, I know that we were saying that wins back up by going to Ross County and that speaking one, but do you think I'm right in saying it's a big weekend for Livingston, because the teams that are challenging at the bottom of the table both get beat? Obviously, we'll find out better next week if it does count, Graham. But good weekend for Livingston, I would say.
Absolutely. The results yesterday were helpful, but they had to win that game yesterday, and they did that. But I think, honestly, next week becomes absolutely huge. And I see Jake there's put, I've never been to Ross County, but this is the one time I'm going. This one of our biggest matches. If we beat them, I believe we can stay up once we have the passion in us. We can be amazing. And I've kind of said on different shows and stuff that I've done that I genuinely thought Livingston were going to go down. I still think they might, but they've now given themselves a fighting chance. Because, like I said, that game yesterday was huge, but next week is massive. Jake and the Livingston fans going up there next week. It is such a big game. And if they get out of that with 3 points, what a chance they've got. I mean, even if they can get themselves into the playoff and then win again in the playoff, they've got a good chance. But I just think next week now becomes absolutely huge for both teams. And like I say, the way it's going just now, I would fancy Livingston next week.
We're coming to the business end of the season, and the locker room will be with you every kick of the ball, Friday night and Sunday night as well. And don't forget, we've got the small mat of, I think Scotland's going to the Euros. I think I've not mentioned that before. We've got shows coming up on that, and we've got a show coming up on Graham's favourite subject. It's not what row is Graham sitting on at Tynecastle at VAR. That's coming up in a few weeks as well. Keep your comments coming in, but on till 5. Like to like to see who's watching and who you're supporting. And do you think Rangers are favourites for the title now, or Two Cats challenge for second place? So get your comments coming in, but until 5 o'clock. Let's speak about the last game of the weekend. And sorry, Gregor, but I kind of left this game last to speak about, right? Because there wasn't a lot to write about in this game, Graham. Big win for Dundee. Dundee 2, Ross County 0.
It was a massive one. Scott Tiffany doing what Scott Tiffany does well. 2 really good goals. And again, I thought Dundee deserved the win. Didn't think Ross County did enough for me in that game yesterday. But it's a huge win for Dundee, and it just carries on the impressive run they've been on. Said it numerous times that I really like Dundee. I think Tony Dockett's done a great job there. The signings they've made have been very impressive. And it was a deserved win yesterday. You know, I did say on Friday I thought they would win because they're at home, and they did, thankfully. So, yeah, I mean, Dundee are in a great position just now. They really are in a strong position. And, I mean, I think they could have won the game by a few more yesterday with the chances they had, but Ross County, again, just they're looking like they've got a bit of no idea going forward. You know, Jan Danda yesterday, I thought, tried to make a few things happen, but didn't really do enough. Simon Murray was all right, but nothing special. And it was a big win for Dundee yesterday, but Ross County, like I said, looking at all sorts of trouble just now, going into that game next week.
19 minutes going off the game, and Stephen Bates well to stay down in Manchester because the Motherwell women's team is getting beat 1-0 off of Glasgow City, and that's only kicked off at 4 o'clock, so we'll keep you up to date on the other games. The other scores, are the same. Paul Donaldson, yes, it's still the same because it's a final score. Aberdeen did 1-3, 4-3, so you've got a big smile on your face. So, well, like, you keep people happy on the show, Graham, don't we? It's a family show and all that as well. But I'm afraid I'm going to say that Tiffany wasn't alone when they scored the goal, Graham.
That's one of the better jokes. To be fair, that's one of the better jokes you've done on this show.
for years.
No, it wasn't. I mean, there wasn't a lot of quality in the game, but Dundee had the 2 defining moments with Scott Tiffany's 2 goals, and he took them really well as well. But Dundee have got a really, really good side there. I keep saying it all the time. I really like the way they play. I like chance for Rangers there. They just missed there. I'm watching the women's game at the same time as doing this. But I thought Dundee deserved to win. They were the better side. They had, I'm looking at the stats as well, actually, 52% possession. And I just think they're the better side. They only had 4 shots on goal, though, and scored 2 of them. So, clinical. But I just think Dundee are a really good side. They've got a lot of quality about them. And that was a big, big win for them yesterday as well. I think they are, I mean, are they going to finish top 6? And they've got a very good chance of it. But they just look a really good side just now. Tony Docherty, the job he's done is incredible with that side. I said it on Friday. When teams come up from the Championship, their main aim is to stay up. And they've done that very comfortably. You know, they're not in any threat from here going down. They look a very good side. And it was a big 3 points for them yesterday. Really big 3 points.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think, obviously, we'll speak about Ross County and possibly the coming weeks because it's coming to the business end of the season. But do you think that without upsetting Ross, and I think I have upset Ross a few times in the group chat, I don't mean that honest. It's just my opinion. The game is all about opinion. But do you think that Ross County is down only because of Derek Adams, that he never got any consistency going, and what he was saying to the media about Ross County or Scottish football in the media, and that didn't help them?
No, it didn't. And it's like I said previously that, I mean, if I'm a player, why would I want to play for a manager like Derek Adams, who basically says that Morecambe are better than you? I wouldn't want to play for him. And I just think there was a bit of a, you know, I don't think Ross County players could have been happy with that, and Ross County fans either. And the performances have kind of showed that. I think, to be fair, the 45 minutes they had at Hearts when they drew 2-2, they played very well. But then they'd had about 2 weeks off, so that was probably understandable why. But they've just never got a run of results together. They don't look particularly great defensively. I think they are very reliant, like I say, on Jan Danda to create something for them, and it's just not quite happening yet. I might be wrong on this, and if Ross was in the chat, he could tell me. But for me, I think Jan Dander's head is already at Tynecastle for that pre-contract. I don't think he wants to be there anymore. And there just doesn't seem to be that togetherness at Ross County. You know, they're not playing well enough. I think Don Kerry will do a decent job there, though, in the short term. But whether they can stay up, I generally don't think so. They just look a very poor side. And if they did finish in the playoff position, I could see a United or Wraith or a Partick Thistle beating them because they just don't look good enough for me.
Well, that I know it's a long way away, Graham, but that's a game to look forward to. Ross County against Packet Thistle, same as last season as well. But anyway, we'll have we'll know in about 14 weeks time off, whatever. But anyway, Gregor, the Dundee fan, is commenting on YouTube. He's saying Scott Kiffney is a great player to have at Dundee. I wonder if I'm just interested to know if he scores a goal. Do they play Tiffany? Do you think they're on? No. Okay.
I would like to think so.
Yeah, I would like to think so as well. Not the Spice Girls or whatever. Anyway, so Graham's watching the Old Firm game. He'll keep us up to date on that. We're just going to jump into the championship where we finished off on Friday night. Before we get to the game of the night, Graham, because that was a brilliant game, the Wraith vs Dundee United game as well. Run through the scores for you. Early 2, Air 3, another exciting game there. Confirm 1, Abloth 1, Inverness 3, Packet Thistle 3. Wow. And the last game is a very exciting game. Queen's Park now, Morton now, Graham. Let's speak about the Friday night game then. Ross County and Wraith Rovers and Dundee United. That was a very. It felt more of like a cup game than a league game, Graham.
No, absolutely did. You know, we obviously did the show on Friday night and we said this could be a really good game, and thankfully it was. It didn't let us down. It was a cracking game.
We got it right for a change.
We did for a change, aye. You know, both teams really going for it. Both teams trying to win the game. I thought it was a big game for Wraith because United obviously were 4 points ahead at the time, so they could have gone 7 clear. So I thought it was a bigger game for Wraith, and the fact they were at home as well. It was obviously Wraith Rovers' biggest crowd as well since 1997 at home. So fair play. You know, both sets of fans made it a really good game. And it was entertaining. Real enjoyable game of football. You know, I think Wraith, we did say it earlier on that the goal for Zach Rudden probably was offside. But it made for a decent spectacle because United didn't have to, you know, really come out and have a go, and they did. And the second half, to be honest, there looked only one team going to win it because United were on the front foot, creating plenty of chances, missed numerous chances. But then what a goal to win it, though. I mean, that Scott Brown goal is a sensational finish from where he was. To put it over the keeper like that was a brilliant goal, and it now keeps Wraith Rovers in that title race. 1 point behind. It was a brilliant win. And I think probably, I don't know whether a draw would have been a fair result, probably, but it's a big result for Ian Murray. What a result, but it keeps the title race wide open.
I wonder if anybody's watching this, I don't know if nobody knows the answer, but it was quite funny on Friday night watching Scott Brown, the Air manager, at the game, watching Scott Brown scoring the winning goal for Wraith Rovers.
Probably it's him that scored it. I mean, yeah. what a way to win a game. If you're going to win a game, that's how to do it. It was a sensational strike. And I love the fact that... Oh, he must have been out. There must be something wrong with that. Maybe the keeper was fouled or something, I don't know. But I mean, Jim Goodwin's after-match interview is like, the guy will probably do that another 9 times out of 10 and not score. Well, you know what? The one time he did do it, he scored past you. But again, I sometimes find Jim Goodwin's interviews entertaining, but other times I just think it's sour grapes. You know, again, he spoke on Fred about how much dominant United in that were. United were decent, but the fact is you've lost the game. You know, just get on with it. You're still top of the league. I just think sometimes managers say things through sour grapes at the end of the games, which is understandable. But Wraith Rovers, I thought, were really good on Friday, really competitive, made it difficult for United. And like I say, to win a game like that, what a goal that was. But United had chances towards the end to equalise as well. They missed a glorious chance in the last minute. The guy's headed over from, he should score. So yeah, it was a really good game of football, and it just goes to show again what I've said. The Championship is such an entertaining division because anyone can beat anyone. It is such an entertaining league. And this is why I've said constantly that whoever goes down from the Premier League, whether it's Ross County, whether it's Livingston, whatever, they'll find it very hard to get out of the league first time because it is so tough.
And I know we flag off plastic parks, Graham, right? But and I thought, I don't know how many games I've watched Brave Rovers in it. Maybe about five or six games between this season and last season. And to be honest with you, I've yet to see a bad game on that surface.
You do get some decent, plastic pitches. Like I said, Airdrie is one of the best, but I think the race one's actually all right as well. And I think it's, for the Championship, it's a decent level of, a synthetic plastic pitch. It's a great pitch. Celtic just missed an absolute sitter.
Oh.
Right through on goal and missed an absolute sitter. Still 1-0 at the moment to Celtic, but that's a glorious chance to go 2-0 up. But yeah, I think that pitch actually was very good, and you can play decent football on it, and that's what I liked. Both teams did try and play decent football. You've got the two best teams in the Championship trying to get the ball down, trying to pass it, and it made a really entertaining game. I actually enjoyed that game of Friday night. There's been some Friday night games that have been very, very flat, very boring, but that wasn't one of them.
And I think it's right and proper for me to say at this stage in the show, and we're talking about the Championship games, it would be good to see that a highlight show as well, Graham. I know that you said that a few times on the shows before.
I have, and I will keep banging that drum. You've got the English football does a Football Leagues highlight show of all the games from all the leagues. Obviously, Match of the Day does their bit, but the English football has like 2-hour show for all the games.
Yeah,
I don't know why Scottish football doesn't do the same. You could easily have a Scottish football show for even an hour to do all the games in the Championship, League One and League Two. And I don't know why they don't do it. For me, it's an absolute joke they don't do it. And I've said this numerous times. They've got a Scottish football channel right there you could show it on, and they don't do it.
And that's why me and Graham get on so well. It was a match made in heaven before Stephen came along, I would say, because we spoke about Sky. And we'll move on. But yeah, I will help you hit that drum over somebody's head. It's not sorry. We're live. Yeah. Okay. Let's speak about the other game yesterday. Obviously, we haven't saw any of the goals. Well, I presume that you haven't, Graham. But speak about there was a few good games yesterday in the Championships. Talking about Scott Brown, his team went away to Airdrie, and that's 2 defeats now because they obviously get beat off the Hearts last week, and they get beat off Ayr United 3-2.
Yeah, and again another big result for United and Scott Brown. He seems to be doing quite well at United at the moment. And they were 1-0 up, then 2-1 up, and then 3-1 up. But fair play, Airdrie have come back into the game. Again, I said it last week after the Hearts game. I like the fact that Rhys McCabe tries to play good football, tries to get the ball on the ground, tries to play it for the back. Sometimes that'll work, sometimes it won't. But it's a big result for United yesterday. And looking at the league table, that now puts United 5th. So they're doing well this season, United. So that was a big win for them yesterday. And you do get plenty of goals in the Championship, but it's a big win for them. Disappointing for Airdrie, of course, after losing last week, which wasn't a surprise. But I'd have thought probably at home, Airdrie would have fancied that game yesterday. But fair play to Scott Brown. It's a big win. Scoring 3 goals away at Airdrie is a very, very good result. Chance for Rangers, and Rangers have equalised at Ibrox. Decent crowd as well, actually, at the game here. Rangers won, Celtic won with 20 minutes to go.
There you go. So 20 minutes to go in that game. But yeah, I mean, Scott Brown, I think he's finding his feet well at Ayr United, albeit they get beat off Rangers. And to be honest, everybody knew that they were going to be up against it going to Ibrox. Scott Brown getting a yellow card. What's new in that? But I think like Ayr United defended well for parts of that game, albeit I know they get beat, but like it was It was a tall order going to Ibrox, especially the way that Rangers are playing at the moment.
They was, they had to make it compact. They had to try and frustrate, and I think at times they did that. But you always knew what was coming. They were always going to win that game, Rangers. But United didn't do themselves any discredit. Thought they kept themselves in the game really well, and that would have given them a lot of confidence. And then they've taken that on to the game yesterday. Like I said, going to Airdrie on that beautiful pitch is never going to be easy. Hearts thankfully got the job done last week, but Airdrie are a good side. I really enjoy watching them, and they're a really good side. I'm sure they'll bounce back after that defeat yesterday. But for United, it's onwards and upwards. I don't think they'll be in that chase for a promotion place, though. I mean, imagine United in the Premier League. United in the Premier League would be incredible, but I think they're slightly a bit too far off that, though.
I think they're halfway preparing for the Premiership, Graham, because I don't know if you saw one of Scott Brown's interviews when they got the job. They're actually building a stand opposite the main stand, so they're getting a structure in place, and it's good to see. Yeah, that would be a good day out, a locker room day out, going over to Somerset Park and go over to the air races after the show. I'm looking forward to that. Scott, if you're listening, give us a wee call. Inverness against Packet for Sol Graham, 3 each at the end of this game.
I mean, again, fantastic game. Again, Inverness against Hibs last week weren't great. I thought they would have done a bit more, to be honest, in that game last week. But Plymouth is a very good Partick side. And, I mean, a 3-3 draw is a brilliant result. Probably for Partick this. I mean, I'm looking at the things here. They were 2-0 down, Partick, and they managed to fight back, and then they're 3-2 down and managed to get a draw. So fair play. Brian Graham's got a couple of goals in that game. Aidan Fitzpatrick get a goal for Partick as well. But it's probably a better result for Partick winning for home than it is for Inverness, being ahead twice. But I'm sure Duncan Ferguson will be taking positives for that game. But it's another big result for both teams. Again, I'm just looking at the standings here. So Inverness are sitting 8th. Again, they're in a decent position. I don't think they're going to go down, but they need to try and pick up a bit more results than that. But it's a really good game again. I keep talking about the Championship as a really good level, and 6 goals yesterday. What more can you ask for? Entertainment at Inverness.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that was the funniest thing you said as well, Graham. We're doing well on the show. At this rate, we'll get a BAFTA. Gunferman won a Broth one, and I would say that was a kind of bottom of the table class.
Yeah, absolutely was. And I think that is another poor result for Dunfermline, though, and James McPake. We spoke about it on Friday. They were on the back of 2 hammerings at home, and that really wouldn't help yesterday. They were 1-0 up, but again, Arbroath managed to come back. But that's another poor result for Dunfermline. I don't think it really helps either team, though. A draw, they're both rooted at the bottom of that league. But I think Dunfermline fans are not happy with James McPake. They're not winning games. They're not playing particularly great football. When they get the 1-0 up yesterday after 18 minutes through Fagan and Walcott, you're probably expecting them to go and score a few more. But fair play to Arbroath. It's a big, big result. But Dunfermline just now don't look good enough. And I think James McPake is on a bit of a sticky wicket. I wouldn't be surprised if he's maybe got another 2 weeks left before he gets sacked, because they don't look great just now.
And just to update you on other games on the women's football, just going into the second half, actually, in most of the games, apart from the Motherwell Spartans game. Oh, Hamilton as well. So Hamilton won women's Spartans nil, Motherwell nil, Glasgow City 1, 37 minutes gone there. The game at Ibrox, Graham's watching today, Rangers 1, Celtic 1, 72 minutes gone there. So now they came up in that one. Graham will be a happy man. 2-0 to Hearts at home, 2-man close. And the score earlier that I brought you is Paul Donaldson would be happy. The Aberdeen 3, Dundee, Aberdeen 4, sorry. Sorry, Paul, kept upset you there. Dundee United 3 and Thistle 1, Packet Thistle 1, Hibs 1 is a full-time score, and Graham will be happy at that as well. So we spoke about all the games over the weekend, but I'm sure there's not a lot to speak about in this one, Graham. Queen's Park now, Morton now.
I mean, what it does do, it keeps Morton's run up. 14 games unbeaten. It's probably a decent point. Looking at the stats, there wasn't a lot in the game by the looks of it. Queen's Park had 4 attempts. Morton had 7 attempts. Queen's Park had 1 attempt on target, and Morton had 4. So not a surprise it finished 0-0. Decent result, I suppose, for Queen's Park against a really top team just now. Morton are still one of the unbeaten teams at the moment. So it's probably a decent point for Morton away from home. They're still well in there with a chance of in that playoff place. But yeah, by all accounts, it wasn't the best of games yesterday.
Do you think that I know that we talk about managers coming to the Premiership and kind of like Brendan Rodgers and Philip Clement and obviously now Neil Warnock up in Aberdeen, kind of high profile managers. But when you think about the Championship, Grim, that you've got Scott Brown, albeit he's only been in the management game 2 or 3 seasons. But also you've got Cam Davison at Queen's Park, and you've got big Duncan Ferguson up in Inverness. So it's quite good for it's quite high profile managers going into the Championship.
Yeah, and I think it does raise the profile of the league as well. And you've got Doug Emery at Morton, who's done a brilliant job so far. Really, really impressed with what they've done so far. Obviously, having knocked out Motherwell last week in the Cup. So yeah, it is great to see. You know, like I say it all the time, but Scottish football does get a kicking from people. Mm-hmm. But you just look at that Championship. That league is very tight. You've got really good young managers coming along as well. I know that Scott Brown has managed before, but I think the Championship is a good leveler for people to kind of, you know, get their teeth into management. And it's great to see. You know, I think we need more of those as well. And I think all the managers are doing well so far. And I'm really impressed with the job, as I say, that Rhys McCabe's doing at Airdrie. He's only, 36, 37, I think it is. And the job he's done there has been incredible. So it is great. It is a really, really good learning process, I think.
Okay, let's look at the games coming up during the week. There's not a lot of games. In fact, there's not any games in the Premiership. There's a few games in League One and League Two and Tuesday night. Tuesday night, you have got Falkirk against Montrose. League Two, sorry, you have got Craig against Forfar and Peterhead against Bonnie Rig Rose, or Sugacy Peterhead. Anyway, so that's my wee kind of daft joke over for this week. Looking at next week's games, Graham, it begins on Friday night with Packet Thistle against Confirming. That's an important game for both sides. Because both sides are sitting at opposite ends of the table. And then we've got the Premiership back next Saturday. We've got Hibs against Dundee, Camarocks at home against Camarocks at home against Aberdeen, Rangers against Hearts, Ross County, as we spoke about earlier on, is at home to Livingston. Packet Thistle, sorry, St Mirren against St Johnson, and on the Sunday we've got a big game at Fir Park, Murrow against Celtic. Graham.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Rangers Hearts is a massive, massive game. 2 teams in really good form just now. Hearts going there probably a lot more confident than I would have been thinking weeks ago. You know, on that 12-game unbeaten run, Rangers now top of the league, so big, big game next week. And I generally think Hearts have got a chance to get something out of the game. Potentially a draw maybe. But we've got to keep the door closed at the back. You know, we've got to be really good defensively. And like I said, if we get chances, we've got to take them. But it's a really big game next week. What a chance we've got to extend that run. And hopefully, you know, with Kilmarnock playing Aberdeen, I mean, that game could go either way. That's a really tough game to call, I think, the way that both teams are playing just now. But I'm looking forward to the games next week. And obviously, Motherwell Celtic on Sunday, the Michael and Stephen Derby next week. That'll be interesting. And after what happened last time at Fir Park when Celtic just won in the last minute, that'll be a tough game. But for me, honestly, the big game next week for me is that Ross County Livingston game. That is so huge next week. I think if, like I said, if Livingston can win that game, what a chance they've got to get themselves out of this. But that's going to be huge.
I know that I think this is the first time, Graham, we've actually spoke about this on the show ever. But anyway, we speak about all sports on the show, not just Celtic, Rangers, Hearts and Hibs. We do speak about other sports as well. And we always speak about big sporting events coming to Glasgow, Graham. And I don't know if you know, but the World Athletics Indoor Championships is coming to Glasgow in 2 weeks' time. I'll be there, so come up and say hello if you want. It's taking place as we started the show by saying at the Chris Hoy Velodrome. It's taking place at the Emirates. So that is between the 1st of March to the 1st to the 3rd of March. It will see over 700 competitors from more than 130 countries taking part in events. 26 actually disciplines, 13 for men and 13 for women. There you go, an equal number. And if you want tickets for that, you can just head along to the website. It is www.worldathletics.org. That's www.worldathletics.org if you want tickets for that one. And there you go, Graham. So it's good to see a big event coming to Glasgow in a few weeks' time.
Absolutely. You know, the Commonwealth Games and stuff, which was fantastic. Hopefully this will be maybe not quite as good, but hopefully get a decent turnout, and hopefully the tickets are cheap as well. I don't know how much these tickets are, but hopefully we'll get a decent turnout for those, and it should be entertaining, I think.
Yeah, no, exactly. So basically, there's different sessions for the athletics, and they're pretty reasonable, Grim. As I say, go on to the website and you can find out more details. But they've got different sessions. Like, so in the Friday morning, you've got, one of the sessions is, like £40 and all the rest of it. I think the dearest tickets are kind of like £70. But as I say, in this sessions going all the way up to Sunday evening. So you can find all the details on the World Athletics website as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to the athletics before. It should be good fun. And I've never been in the Emirates before, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
No, neither have I. It would be interesting to actually go along to one of these and see what it's actually like and see what it's set up and stuff, but it's something I've never actually done before. I know a few folk that have been to these things and they've quite enjoyed it. So yeah, I think you'll have quite a good time next week when you're there.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then the next on my bucket list to do is go along to see Andy Murray, but I don't know, in the Davis Cup, because they do the Davis Cup there as well.
Yeah, I just hope Murray would play him though. You know, like we said previously, yeah. I just hope that he's going to be able to carry on for a little bit longer. I know he's maybe not at the same level that he used to be, but I just hope he can carry on for another year or two, because he is still a fantastic player. But like I said before, injuries and age catch up with all of us. But like Chris Hoy, he's been a fantastic ambassador for Scottish sport. And I just hope that he can get back to some kind of form.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Let's get back to form. Let's get back to talking about football before we finish up, Graham. And there's, you were saying that there's a few games on this week, but I think I know what your game of the weekend will be.
Yeah, I mean, that game at Ibrox next week is huge. Now, we don't have a great record against Rangers, so I'm hoping that might change next week. But like I said, we've got to defend really well. And, Naismith will know what he's got to do next week. I think he might make a few changes as a team. But the thing is as well, looking at yesterday as well, we've got a lot of players back from injury. Our bench yesterday made a massive difference. We could afford to make changes that helped. which is great to see. We've still got players out there like Barry Mackay and Liam Boyce and stuff, but we've got a lot of players back, which is great to see. We need them all next week. And like I keep saying, if we can keep ourselves in the game and then get a chance, you know that there's every chance that Shankland's going to take it. So it's a huge game next week. I'm looking forward to it probably more than what would have been weeks and weeks ago. But I just hope we can go there and give ourselves a chance. And actually, I think it was Neil McCann on the TV yesterday actually made a really good point as well. The point advantage that we've got, 14 points clear, we can afford to go Ibrox and we can actually have a go. Don't do what like you've talked about before, like park 10 buses. Have a go. Because even if we get beat, we've still got a massive point advantage that's not going to make a massive difference. So this is a game next week that I think we can go there and play with a bit more freedom and just have a go. And you never know what could happen. We could win the game. So it's a big, big game for us next week. And if we can keep that run going, make it 13 games unbeaten, that would be fantastic.
Do you think that Celtic will have the hardest of the two games because that they know that they're kicking off first because it's on the telly, they're away from home, they've struggled to get for park, as you said a wee while ago on the show, but because that Celtic are going through a sticky spell, whereas Rangers are playing at home in front of 50,000.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. Obviously, Rangers are playing first next week because the Celtic game's on the Sunday, so Rangers could be a few more points clear by then.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think that Celtic game against Motherwell next week is going to be massive because, like I said, Motherwell, there's been a slight improvement there. And I know that Stephen touched on this the other day as well, that Motherwell do actually score goals. Not yesterday because they weren't great yesterday, but they concede far too many. And they've got to keep that back door shut next week. But they're up against a Celtic team that is not playing with a lot of confidence, not playing with that swagger. There's a lot of questions getting asked. Celtic fans, as we know, are not happy with the board, the manager, the players. So next week becomes a massive game for Celtic. If Rangers beat Hearts next week, hopefully not. But if Celtic were then to drop points next week again, I mean, that would be huge. I mean, for weeks and weeks, I've said that I think Celtic win the league. But now I'm thinking, actually, Rangers are probably favourites now. So these next couple of games are going to be huge. And I think Celtic will beat Motherwell next week, to be fair. But they're massive. Every week now becomes a massive game. Every week becomes a massive week.
It's a cup final every week for both teams, I like to keep you happy, Graham, now and again. So as well as Hearts won yesterday, and you were at the game, the women's team, I think they'll win the game now because they're beating Mancross 4-0 with only 2 minutes left. So I think the Hearts will win that one, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Eva Oliver, she's done a really good job. We're now level with Hibs as well, which is also good to see. So yeah, I'm really impressed with the job she's done. We've got a lot of good players in that Hearts team. We're kind of climbing up the league a little bit. We actually started the season quite well and then had a drop-off, which is understandable. But yeah, it's a really big win today. Hopefully we can carry that on to next week as well. But I'm really impressed with the job that Eva Oliver's done. She's signed a lot of really good players, so another really good win today. I don't think Montrose are particularly great, so I expected Hearts to win that game today. But 4 goals, delighted with that. It's about 2 minutes to go in this game at Ibrox. Rangers 1, Celtic 1 still.
There you go. Yeah, it's good to see the women's football getting a high profile as in on the TV, and also they've got the highlights on the Monday night as well. Couple minutes left on the show. We'll round up the rest of the games. As Glenn told you, it's 1-8 to Ibrox between Rangers and Celtic, the big two. Graham, I don't want you to jump off your couch now. 5-0 to Hearts, full time against Mancross. 5 penalties? No? Okay. No, there wasn't any penalties in that game. So the rest of the scores, as I said early on, Packet Thistle 1, Hibs 1 final score. The other final score, Aberdeen 3, Dundee Aberdeen 4. There you go, I'll say it again. Dundee United 3, Hearts 5, Mancross 0. So that was a tight game. Rangers 1, Celtic 1, Hamilton Women's 1, Spartans 0, and half time actually between Murrow and Glasgow City. And I'm sorry to say, Stephen, it's still you're still getting beat 1-0. So thanks for all your comments as always. It's been a busy show. Thanks to Graham. And we'll be back next Friday at the 5 o'clock for the weekend show. And on a Sunday, looking back at the Celtic Murrow game and the rest of the games. And hopefully Scotland would beat the old enemy next week against England. So we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.
Cheers, guys.